Um, no, the people say that God's an uncaused cause just always existed. No, folks. You could say you you could say that about any God. But I mean, if most of the people believe in Christianity as a Christian God always existed, well, why wouldn't any of the other gods existed? You can't say God always existed. And which God always existed? Remember, if the religion teaches us monotheism, that there's only one God, right? Only one God. You know what it says? No gods before me. So this means there can't be any other gods. There's only one God. And if you say God always existed, well, which God is it? And if the people believe in a different God, well, the true God's going to punish them because it said only one God exists. So the argument's flawed. We don't know all the answers. Nobody knew all the answers 3,000. That's why they made pseudoscience. They made up stuff. Not only that, to control people. Remember, religion was a form of control, government, politics, everything back then. Because that's all they had to rely on, stories and God. So you just can't say God always existed. Because that doesn't make any sense. Because which God is it? You know, remember, people believing this God are going to hell because if he turns out, if it's Krishna, the right God, if it turns out it's the elephant God, if it turns out it's Jesus, I mean, so the God always existed is lazy. It's the easy answer. Anybody can say that. Oh, God always existed. Boom, that's the easy answer. It's not that way. But it's not like if God did always exist, and you're dead, and then you came alive to meet the God, well, which God would it be? And it turns out, if the people are believing in this religion and this God, well, they're automatically going to hell because they're worshiping the wrong God. That wouldn't make any sense. It's not God. Now, it could be an uncaused cause that has to do with our God. That could be possible because we have the space is freaky. Space warp time. We got exoplanets, thousands of them that resemble Earth that we could go to if we could, and we could see all these species. Who knows what they would look like? They probably would look like us. If they would look like aliens, and they know something. Obviously, if they existed longer than us, they know what happened either before the Big Bang or after the Big Bang. They know more than us, and they have advanced civilizations than us. They have more technology than us. They might even know we exist. Think about it. There's 10,000 exoplanets. That means 10,000 species other than humans. They probably don't even know we exist. So, people saying uncaused cause is God doesn't work. Doesn't work, man. Not only this, if God is above the laws, remember, God could do anything, right? God can make 2 plus 2 equal 5. God can make A equals not A. God could make gravity upside down. God could do anything if God exists. But 2 plus 2 is 4. So if God exists, God is bound by the laws. God is bound by the laws. But there is no God. So your God is defeated. Omnipotent. No. It's not omnipotent. So uncaused cause is God? I'm afraid not. Now, uncaused cause that has to do with not with God? That's more possible. Because things are popping in and out of existence. Time and space can get warped. And, you know, we know the universe came out of nothing, can create itself with the physical laws, Stephen Hawking says. And a universe out of nothing with Lawrence Krauss. And we'll find the answer. Remember, folks. And remember, and take this to heart. Take this to heart. Everything that was never explained by science never was a God. Never. The tides go in and out. It took us a very long time to explain. And it was no God. Even Neil deGrasse Tyson, who's agnostic, he thought it might have been God. We could have never explained the tides go in and out. But guess what, folks? It wasn't God. Everything that we've came to, even the hardest explanation, like Matt Dillahunty said, never was a God. And I've read in an article that they said they think the Big Bang will be explained one day. You know why? Science, technology advances. That's just the way it is. Science, technology will explain it. We'll explain more. The more powerful science we have, the more powerful technology we have, the more we can create things, create technology, invent technology. We now know that we can make light out of matter, matter into light. You can just do this now. So you really have to think about it. You have to ask yourself, okay, if God created all existence, well, what God is it? Because if God made all the religions, and it says in the book, there can only be one God, no gods before me. This means there's only one God. Well, which God is it? You have to ask yourself this, which God is it? So it's no gods. Gods, like Matt and Honey said in the Atheist Experience, was always a thing for people that couldn't explain anything. Let's take it back. Lightning. People thought it was God. Rain, disease, illness, and so forth and so forth. The tides going in and out. People always attributed to God. And it never was a God. Science has always defeated religion. So, uncaused cause, I'm afraid, is not God. Sounds good. Sounds good. Sounds an easy answer. I'll give you that. It's not God. It's more like an uncaused cause that's not God. It's an uncaused cause that could have been a force out there. And people said, well, you keep on tracing it back. Well, not necessarily. If time and space existed after our Big Bang, and there was multiple Big Bangs and a multiverse, and on and on and on, different time, different existence. Our existence, our time, was just a framework of another existence. Our universe is a universe of another parallel universe. So yeah, that's why I think this society is going to be wonderful one day. The more we learn, the more everybody's going to be intellectual, and don't have to rely on superstition and beliefs. So yeah, the bottom line, the gods can't exist is because the cause of existence can't be any of gods. Because one, which God is it? Which God is it? It's all made up, man. It'll be funny though if you die and turn out the God was the blue elephant God. That was God, and it turned out it was an elephant. Come on, folks. Fantasy has its limits, right? Fantasy has its limits. Sounds all nice. Like the Wizard of Oz. Follow the yellow brick road, follow the yellow brick road. That's what I consider heaven. Like the Wizard of Oz. Remember the Wizard of Oz had the road was all paved with gold, right? It's supposed to be in heaven, all like in the clouds. The buildings are all gold and everything, God's kingdom. And you can ride unicorns and everything's a fun, happy day. And there's all rainbows. Come on, folks. Get real, man. Yep, everybody wakes up to reality one day. And science and technology, ahead of time, years from now, will explain. So yeah, somebody wrote in an article that the Big Bang will be explained. It's just a matter of time. So, the cause. So yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. Or like Sam Harris says, just because it may seem real to you, the superstition, the heaven, doesn't mean it's real. Just because of God, you feel the God. Like Dan Marcus said, evangelical pastor who became atheist. His experience was delusions. He experienced God. But he found out it was delusion. Everybody wakes up to reality sooner or later. Trust me. I guess, in a sense, if there was a heaven, wouldn't God just make everybody go to heaven, right? And just actually punish the evil people? But it doesn't even work that way, which is even more fucked up. Remember, even the bad people can go to heaven as long as they repent to Jesus. No matter the most evil deed you ever did, if you're the evilest person ever, it shouldn't work that way. The system should work like this. And if God exists, I'll tell him in his face. All the bad people go to hell, all the good people go to heaven. But then again, there shouldn't be even heaven or hell. Because if God created everything, he has control of everything, the rules. He didn't have to make evil. He didn't even have to make a hell. He could have made everybody live on forever. People wouldn't have to die. He could have made a heaven on earth forever and ever and ever and ever. And there would be peace and happiness forever and ever and ever. Could have done that. But he didn't, did he? Remember what Matt Delahunty says, the outlaws. Remember the 4 questions. Did God have power to create the universe? Did he know what kind of universe he was going to create? Did he make his own universe? Did he dream the universe? Is he responsible for all the people? Therefore, you have no free will. If he's responsible for all the past, present, and future, he knows already what's going to happen. You have no free will. So, like I said, the more logic, the more thinking of this. Like I said, man, say like if we had an alternate past. Say like if like 3000 BC, we knew all the answers. We knew how everything started. You know? Would there be a religion? There might have still been a religion, but I would have had nothing to do of like God created this, God created this, because everybody would know. Another reason why religion was created, not only to explain what they thought, you know, the universe doesn't exist, but was actually to control people. It was a system, it was a caste system, you know? People used slavery. There might have actually been slavery still, because people, you know, the higher up people want to take control of the peasants, or the poor people, make them slaves to do their dirty work. But that's an interesting question you pull, because if the Bible condones that, and there was no Bible in an alternate 3000 BC, would there actually still be slavery? Would people do that, or people would like no, you know? So like, you know, someone's gonna find sooner or later when you pinch somebody, they're like, ow, that hurts. And maybe like, oh, sorry, I wouldn't do that. You know, maybe there actually wouldn't be slavery if you come to think about it. The book has done more harm than good, folks. So think about an alternate 3000 BC, right? And there was everything. We already knew everything explained, you know. So like we knew how all existence was explained. So like if I know this seems crazy, but so like if it was like an advanced civilization, but of an old civilization, you know. So man, maybe because of that book, maybe, you know, if there was no holy book, maybe there wouldn't be slavery. Maybe everybody would find out their own morals. You know, they'd be like I said, somebody would pin somebody, like, ow, that hurts. You know, and they're like, oh, I better not do that. Hurt somebody. I mean, eventually common sense comes to focus. You know, that's how everybody evolved. Learning, they're learning the morals. They evolved. They're like, ow, you know, don't do that. That hurts. And they're like, oh, sorry, but I better not do that. So they had to hunt their survival because, one, they need food. They have to eat, right? And they knew not to pinch somebody because that hurts. So they didn't do it. That's where the morals come from. It comes from family, you know? I grew up never knowing God. Being atheist all my life. Where do I get my morals? It has to come from a family. I think it does, because the kids that have good families turn out to be good. And I've seen it all along. The serial killers and the bad people that had really fucked up family in childhood turned out bad. This just makes sense that way. It makes sense. Your morals are derived from your family, and your morals are derived from evolution, and your morals are derived from pain. Pain. If you pin somebody, it hurts. And if you're a functionally normal person with no schizophrenia or no brain disorders, you're just like, hey, I better not do that. Hurt somebody. But if you have disorder in your brain, you don't know, you know, if you're psychotic. And this is the thing with the people say that the God has good morals. Well, if that's the case, well, why would God create people that are schizophrenic, brain disorder, that don't know what's right or wrong? God is the easy answer for anything. I can defeat any argument you throw at God, because science and knowledge and power explains things that God is irrelevant. That's where the morals come from, folks. It comes from the family, it comes from evolution. I gotta go eat.